This week I've been thinking a lot about how I prepare for a show because I actually had two shows this week. One solo show at Dacia Gallery and also a group show with the graduates of my Visionary Artist Master program at Dacia Gallery in New York City. So usually you find out about a solo show quite a bit ahead of time, sometimes a year ahead of time, sometimes a few months. Sometimes it'll just come out of nowhere and be like a month later. And often you'll find out about a group show, again, maybe a few months, maybe a month late, like ahead of time. And in very rare occasions, less than that. But whatever amount of time you have when you find out about the show, it's time to start preparing. So first you'll want to select the pieces that'll be in the show. For solo shows, it'll usually be between 8 to 15 pieces, depending on the size of the gallery. If it's like a really large space, it could be even way more than that. And for a group show, it'll depend on the gallery. Sometimes it's just one piece per artist, sometimes it's a little collection of pieces, a few pieces per artist, that sort of thing. But you'll want to find out what pieces are going to be in the show, and all of the pieces will need to be united in theme and style. And these days more and more artists are working like in a multidisciplinary way, so it's not uncommon for an artist to be using two different mediums, but you'll still want there to be like a solid connecting thread between those works. For me, I still work exclusively in oil painting, so that's also really common. And then it's really important that you start to develop your mailing list. This is something I tell the artists that I work with all the time, and I know there's a lot of hesitation to do it, and I'll be making a video coming soon about mailing lists and how to do them, etc. But it's just absolutely vital that you have a mailing list and that you start to use it. Start by adding like all your friends and family and colleagues and anyone who's expressed any interest in your art ever, any galleries you're trying to connect with, any collectors obviously. And if you are ever in sort of a show at like an alternative space where you have the option of putting down a mailing list that people can fill in, always take that opportunity so that you can add those emails to your email update list. And then I send out art updates like once a month, but when I have a show coming up, I'll send it, say, once a month, of course, and then 2 weeks before the show, 1 week before the show, 3 days before the show, and then like on the day of the show. So send out extra emails when you have a show coming. And of course, one after too, saying how great the show was and thank you so much to everyone for coming. I also actually have a top mailing list that I add people if I have their addresses. So like top collectors separated by city, like magazine editors that I'm trying to connect with, or galleries that I'm trying to connect with, just anyone who I'm really trying to develop a connection with, and I have their mailing address. I have like a Word document where I've got them separated by city on that document. And these days a lot of galleries aren't actually printing like hand printed invites for shows, but what I'll do is I'll actually get greeting cards made. I use moo.com myself with like the invitation piece on on the card, and I'll handwrite some cards and mail them to these top contacts before the show. And I'll even send them to galleries that I'm trying to connect with, not at all as like an application, like a submission, nothing formal, and I don't include a business card, but just to like let them know about my show and basically let them know that I'm still active as an artist. Before a show, I'll also often prepare an artist talk. I may not necessarily say the artist talk, like if there's not like an opportunity for it, but it's good to be always preparing how to talk about your work and sort of remind yourself, wrap your head around like what the main themes and concepts are in your work. I actually find it's extremely important not to be like blathering about this to everyone at the show. It can be really off-putting actually when you find yourself stuck in a corner and some artist is like telling you their whole artist statement. Don't do that at all. At the show, really just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Say it genuinely, like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. That's kind of how I am, but repress any urge to try to convince them not to like the work and be like, are you sure you like this weird painting of mine? Or what about this problem over here? Just suppress any urges to say anything like that, and yeah, just get in the habit of saying thank you, like genuinely. But I do prepare an artist talk beforehand. Sometimes there's an opportunity, and if you ever get an opportunity to give an artist talk, I know it's the most dreaded thing that we ever have to do as artists, but always say yes. You'll get better and better at it, the more often you do it. And I'll be making a video coming soon about how to talk about your art. But like I say, even if you don't have the opportunity to give a formal artist talk, it still is useful just to kind of have some ideas about what you might say about your work. For anyone who really is asking, like they really want to know what a specific painting is about, you'll have something to say. And then at the reception, you'll want to take lots of photos. You'll want to take photos of the gallery filled with lots of people, you with lots of other people, you by yourself in front of your paintings. Also take an installation shot of the gallery, empty, just an installation shot of all the pieces, in the gallery. That can look really good on your website, or even one also with lots of people in the gallery can look nice on your website. And take vertical reels too, like a spin around of the installation of the show, maybe starting in at a detail of the painting, zooming out and showing the whole show, kind of be creative. But you'll want to have some vertical reels for like Instagram and social media as well. And then the day after the show is not the time to relax. It's actually super busy. You'll want to send out, a thank you email to everyone who came to the show. You'll want to start posting photos on your social media and include that in your email, like of the show, of the opening, and with all the people in it. There'll probably be some opportunities to follow up on during the show. Keep, the notes app in your phone, handy so you can write down any notes of anyone who came, showed up and said anything. Maybe someone said like whatever, like at my last one there was someone who came and said that they were just recently speaking about my work with this gallery that I really want to connect with, so I made a little note to remind myself, and then I sent that gallery a card the next day saying like, oh, I heard so and so was like talking to you about my art, like I'm so happy that you like my work, that kind of thing. So send out thank you cards as well. There'll just be a lot of follow-up to do like the next day, and it's important that you kind of get on that like right away. And then also, just as a side note, if you're ever installing your own show, 63 inches in the center of the painting is a nice height to hang paintings. And don't forget to bring red dots and a receipt book if you're selling the work yourself. And of course, don't forget to add it to your CV at the end. So those are the basic ways that I prepare for an art show. Let me know in the comments anything you do to prepare for an art show. And to get notified about when the next Visionary Artist Master Program opens in 2024, click the link below and you'll get added to the notification email list.